Uh, here we go. I covered this already, right? Somebody say yeah or no. Yes. Okay. Listen, you can traverse array lists just like you can traverse arrays. So when would we do this? If you're checking for duplicates, or if you're trying to find the average, max, and min, all those things, or if you're going to remove things. We couldn't remove things from arrays, but with array lists, you could say go in and remove every entry that's less than a certain amount or over a certain amount, So in general, traversing an array list is almost the same as traversing an array. Here we are with a regular for loop. So we use words.size instead of .length. And if we use an enhanced for loop, it's just the same as it would have been. Just remember to use .size instead of .length. It won't work if you try to use .length. The big key lesson of this section of notes is if you're going to be removing things, you have to start at the end and work backwards. And mainly, here's an example where I make an array list and I add good, bad, ugly, good, good. And I print out the words before. And then I start at 0 and I work my way forward and I try to delete all the things that say good. Well, notice what's still left here. It deletes the first one. It deletes the second one it found, but the last one doesn't get deleted because once you delete something, all the index values change on the ones after it. So, and then meanwhile, your for loop is going one ahead. So if you ever had 2 duplicates in a row, you're going to skip, you're always going to miss the second one, but there's all kinds of trouble that can happen. So bottom line, this is the code done properly. You start at the end, which is words.size -1. Remember, you have to do -1 because the size is how many there are, and the last one, index value, is that -1. And then you have to go as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, and then go down 1 each time. So this starts at the end and works backwards, and when you do that and you sometimes delete things, everything works great. You never have a problem. You just have a problem if you're moving forward and deleting. Okay, so I'm going to pause, and I have something. All right, I made a little section called methods. What's up with them anyway? I didn't put the anyway on there, but this is you, right? Over the years, I've noticed students getting confused about methods and where to put them, and just now I've been helping people put curly brackets in the right place because they put too many, they close things out the wrong way. Just want to review a couple quick things. This will help you moving forward. Methods are chunks of code, little routines we write that do things, and anything you could do with a method, you could also not do in a method. You could do it in a huge, big old hunk of code, but sometimes methods make things easier, and they also help us organize our code logically. So let's look at the frog class. Thanks. Let's look at the frog class. Could anyone tell me which are the methods? Greg, tell me one method.
Get location.
Yeah, that's a method. Get location. Nathan. Yeah. We just say hop, but yeah. But yep, hop with an int. That's a method. Get location's a method. There's one more. Be brave. Bruce. ToString. Yep. And then the public frog, that's a constructor. It's not a method. And the top thing where it says private int location, that's just variable declarations. We call those variables, attributes, data members, fields. These are all different terms you might hear. But we have 3 methods in this frog. I have a question for you. Where could I add a new method? I've given you 3 choices, where the A is, where the B is, where the C is. So I'd like, and I'm not at all happy that this is blocking, so I'm going to move it. There's also a D. I knew there was more. So think about this. there may be more than one correct answer. Where could you add a method? If I said, hey, add a method to the frog class where it says ribbit when you poke at the frog, public void poke, and then it prints a ribbit. Brennan. B is one space. There's another space. Bruce. C. B and C. So B is in between the constructor and one of the methods. That's great. C is after one of the methods, but still inside the class. That's great. What's wrong with writing a method at A? It's inside the constructor. You can't just make a constructor and then say, while I'm in here, I'm going to make a method. That's not how it works. And then D, what's wrong with D? Somebody else who hasn't helped us yet. Yes. It's not even in the class. So if you did that and then tried to compile, tried to run, it would say enum class something expected. You know, that's what happens sometimes. Okay. So only spots B and C would be okay, like we just said. So here's another example from a REPL. Let's say I asked you to write a method that prints hey. Where should you put it? We got A, B, and C. So don't say it out loud. Everybody think to yourself, where would you put the method if I said, write me a method that prints hey? So you could put it A, B, or C. In this case, only one of those spots is correct. Somebody who hasn't helped us yet. August. Not A. A is inside main. Yeah, sorry, I know I put you on the spot. B is the only right answer here. If you went to A, you're writing, look, you're inside main method. You can't be inside a method and then say, well, while I'm here, I'm going to write another method inside this method. And C is not even in the class again. So my advice to you is when you're writing a method, you know, click where you want to write it, write the header, and then add the open and close curly brackets, and then you know where you're working, where you're planning to work inside there. So this doesn't, so I wrote the method, public static void say hey, system out.println hey. So this still doesn't print anything. How do we fix that? Jack, do you know? Like, so this would compile, but nothing would happen. So how do we make it actually print hey? Yeah, we just, what would we put there? I'll show you. We'd put the say hey there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know you could print it there, but if we were going to use the method. And so that calls the method that we just wrote down below. I mean, this is silly, but I just was using it as an exercise. Okay, so now we've got two more things I'm adding to the workload, and a lot of you still have to finish the other things, which will be fine. We're going to do a Go Tigers method. That's a lot like the simple example I just did. And then we're doing one called method versus main, which a little bit more complicated.